Hey guys, so it's VEDA Day 2, and I'm here to give you those reviews that I promised you back in February. So today I'm going to be reviewing all the adult fiction / classics that I read in February. I did read them all, and I think, I don't know, I liked 2 more than I did the other 2, but let's go ahead and get started. The first book that I read was The Painted Veil by W. Somerset Maugham. I was really excited when I started off my channel, as you can tell. So I read this book because I absolutely loved the movie. I cried at the end. I loved The Painted Veil. So I thought, why not read it in book form? It's probably going to be just as amazing, if not better. So this book is about a British girl named Kitty Fane and her troubled marriage with her husband Walter. For most of the book it's based in Hong Kong, but for some of it is based in 1920s England. So it's all about her troubled marriage with her husband Walter, and her husband Walter, they're in Hong Kong because her husband is working for the government as a bacteriologist. But right away you find out that Kitty is having an affair, and as sweet, sweet revenge, Walter gives Kitty an ultimatum and takes a job in Maytamfu where there's a cholera epidemic, and tells her that she has to give up her lover and move to Maytamfu with him, or she can stay there if her lover will take her. Okay, Kitty, what a bitch. I feel like she was supposed to be, I understand that she was supposed to be self-centered and, you know, really young and all about herself, and in the movie she's like that too, but I felt like in the movie she actually grew and learned from her mistakes. And in this book, she doesn't do that. I feel like she goes from, you know, being self-centered to oh, I think, you know, I'm self-centered to, yeah, I'm self-centered. And then she just continues on being self-centered. I don't think she grows at all. And and Walter, my heart was breaking. He was so in love with her. So in love with her, oh my god, he was just so in love with her, and she was just a nightmare. I did not like this at all, so I'm going to go ahead and hit on 2 points before I give you my star rating. The first one is what didn't I like about the book. I didn't like the ending. It absolutely made no sense to me. The very, 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 very end. It didn't make any sense to me. I didn't understand. It was completely out of nowhere. If you read it, you'll know what I mean. The second point that I want to hit on is what I did like about the book. I liked the movie. I'm giving The Painted Veil 2 stars, and basically that extra star I'm only giving it because I loved the movie, so watch the movie. I know Words of a Reader did a review on this, and I intentionally didn't watch that because I wanted to do my video first and then go back and see what she thinks. I think she likes it because in one of her recent videos she was reading another book by W. Somerset Maugham. But yeah, I want to see what she thinks. She's somebody who reads classics more than I do. I'm mainly a romance person, so and it's, you know, and it's not the fact that this wasn't, you know, it wasn't a happy ending that I didn't like it, that it wasn't that happy. Well, I mean, the movie's not a happy ending either, but that it wasn't a romance at the end. That wasn't the reason I didn't enjoy this book. I just thought, I didn't understand the point of it, is how I felt at the end of reading this book. I don't feel like the character, Kitty, she learned anything from her mistakes, and I think the very, very ending was just too random. I didn't even, after finished reading this book, I was like, why did I read that? So, yeah. The next book that I picked up from my February pile was Birdsong by Sebastian Fox. Okay, so this book. All about the life of Stephen Raceford, and you start off in 1910 where he's moving to France, I think. France, where he meets the very unhappily married Isabelle is there, and he's staying with her and her family for work. I'm not going to give you anymore because I don't want to spoil what happens next. But let me just say this. Isabel is a complete and total bitch. So the book then again fast forwards and you go to 1916 and Stephen is on the front lines for World War I, and so good. It's all about his experiences during the war, what he's going through mentally, physically, what some of his comrades are going through. It's really, really good. And then the book also time jumps to like late 1970s where you meet a descendant of Stephen's. Oh my god. Yeah, so I don't want to give you any more than that because that's gonna spoil it. What didn't I like about this book? I didn't like the relationship with Isabel and Stephen. I didn't get it. Stephen was just so in love with her and she was just a nightmare. I don't know what it is about these male authors, but they are like, these main women characters are just not that good. So for a lot of the book, Stephen is just like pining and pining for his love, Isabel, and she was selfish and, you know, not willing to face her mistakes head on, and I think Stephen suffered for that. I didn't like Isabel and Stephen's relationship. Like, I felt like I should have been, you know, pining for Isabel along with Stephen, and I wasn't at all. I didn't like her. I was thinking, move on, dude, you can do better. I did have problems getting through the first 100 pages. I feel like there was just so much filler in there that I didn't need. And it wasn't until we got to 1960, which is like around page 100, that I actually started to enjoy the book. I was seriously nodding in and out for the first 100 pages, but it gets better. Another thing that I didn't like about the book is the 1970s. I kind of understand the connection that the author was trying to make and the whole story, but I'm gonna say this. The very, very, very end of this book makes no sense. I don't even know how to explain it without giving spoilers. But the ending, like the very, very, very end, made absolutely no sense. Like, I wish somebody could explain that to me. I get the tie-in with the name, I get, you know, finding out who the descendant is, that kind of thing, but I feel like the very, very, very end just made no sense at all. Okay, so I think those were mainly the things that I didn't like. What I liked about the book, what I loved was the part where Stephen's in the war and you're going through everything he's going through. It was so interesting. I just found it so interesting, everything that Stephen was going through. I also loved where the author, he gave you bits and pieces of what other soldiers were going through and what they were thinking. They're right about to go into battle and they're at the front line, so they basically know that they're not going to die. They know that they're just that first bunch rushing up and they're not going to make it. And so the night before, they're writing letters to their loved ones, and so you're reading letters from each person and, you know, kind of the last words that they're going to say before they go out there. And it's kind of like not committing suicide, but, you know, it's so good and moving. It's really, really good. I love that part, that you weren't just getting Stephen's story, you were also getting other soldiers' stories. This book was so good. I really want to see the BBC series that they have on this. Such a good book. So my rating for this book is going to be, I think I gave it 5 stars? 5 or 4 stars. I really liked it. Despite the fact that I didn't like the first like 100 pages and the ending was kind of dumb, I really like this. I felt like, you know, I did feel like a bunch could have been cut out of this, like a lot of the beginning. There was just too much description. And then a lot of the portion with the, you know, the life of the descendant, like, yeah, 4 stars. Or 5, whatever I put on Goodreads. The next book that I read, The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Nuffmager. I finally read this. Loved it. There are things in here that aren't in the movie, and I loved it. I cried. I think I was crying this whole chunk right here. I was crying throughout the whole thing. I obviously This is all about Henry de Temple and his wife Claire Abershire. I can't say these names. I don't even know how to explain this because I feel like everybody knows what it's about. I'm just gonna say read it. What did I love about it? Everything. What didn't I like? Nothing. I liked everything. Okay, this is gonna be the worst review ever, even though this is probably my favorite out of this whole pile. It was so moving, and I don't even feel like it needs to be reviewed. Like, it's so great. I can just say that I'm totally shocked with, I don't know, things are different in the movie from the book. For the most part, it's the same, but the book is so much better. Like, so much better. You need to read it. It's really, really good. 5 stars. The next and last book that I read for this classic section, well, this adult fiction section, is The Lover's Dictionary by David Levithan. I was a little disappointed. I think I gave this 3 stars. I think it's sweet. I think it's great for quotes. But I was kind of hoping, because people said love story, because I was kind of hoping that once you read the whole thing, I was hoping, like, you know, like once you read each definition, you would get a story out of it. You don't. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of found it difficult to rate, just because I think my expectations kind of threw it off, and I wanted more from it that I didn't get. So I don't know if I gave it 2 or 3 stars. I think I gave it 3 stars. That's the conclusion of all of my reads. Out of all of them, this was definitely my favorite. I know I didn't really review it, but how can you review it? It's just amazing. If I were to recommend any of these, I would recommend this one for sure. Have to read it. And then also Birdsong. Really good. Fight through that first 100 pages and totally pay off. But yeah, so that's it for today. I will see you tomorrow with my February new adult reviews. I read all of those. Yeah, I read all of my new adult. So I will see you then. Bye! Hey guys, so I know it's been a long time. I'm not going to even go through the excuses, but I promised reviews back in February, and I didn't do any of them. I read most of the book.